Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to do the wrap up on our new swap, the All is Calm, All is Bright Flow Book Insert Swap. I think that's the best name I came up with, even though it sounds a little confusing. And whatever I use, if I have any items that are available, I'll link them in the description box. Those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. Again, right under the title, it might say show more. It might have a little triangle. And sometimes you still have to click show more even after that, or whatever it is, but it's in the description box. And I already have lots of questions. Lots of people signed up. Like I said, I'm going to leave it open until the 29th, so however many people sign up, that's great. Now they'll all get in, because what I'm asking you to do is send in 4 of the exact same or as close to the same as you can inserts, because again, we're going to make this flow book. So I already have a lot of questions. Some people are asking if they need to send four sets of 4. No way. You're sending in 4. I'm going to show you that. Oh, I had them upside down in just a minute. Oh, that's funny. You know, when I do the folders swaps, I always have a paper clip on top, and for that reason, to help you hold things in. And you see, those just kind of slid out. But I'm going to put mine in a sleeve afterwards too, so I'll talk about that. So we'll see that in a minute. We're going to make a flow book, which is basically, you can buy them like at magazine shops and things like that, like Barnes & Noble, that have flow books and other places, where it's a magazine, but you're opening it up and you can rip things out of it and use it, like paper crafty. It's more for like mixed media stuff, and they call them flow books. Or you can make your own, right? You have a journal or something, and you stick a bunch of things in there, so later on you can just pull something out and be inspired by that, you know? So basically that's what we're doing, is upside down. But we're going to use the inserts that people send us, and the inserts are basically cards, right? And as you can see, these are put together in the front. Now, we're not going to put ours together from the front because, hello, we don't know, you know, how the person styled their pockets, like where everything is. So we're going to stick ours together from the back. So I'm going to show you how to do that. At least the way I would do it. But basically, we're going to make a junction in the back that sticks them together. So you still open them this way, but they're stuck together in the back, okay? And this happens to be made with the Anna Griffin dies. If you have those, that's great. Again, I would use like this lower die than this really tall one. It just depends on your die cuts. So in the first video, I said you need to have a large pocket and 2 small ones. Here's my leftover paper I should just put to the side for right now. So yesterday, literally, this took me about half an hour, guys. It didn't take very long to make up all my cards. So in the written guidelines, I am calling them card inserts, because they are cards. They're 5x7 cards, just like I showed you in the first video, and hopefully this video answers the rest of your questions, because I had a lot of questions. As you can see, all mine, they're 5x7. They're exactly the same. The pockets are exactly the same, oriented in the same spot. You have to have one large pocket, however you fashion that, but I would prefer for it to be like this and like a side pocket. You know, again, it just works better. So if you're going like this and you have a side pocket, things might fall out. Generally, I would orient them this way. I did have a question as far as the card bases, if they can be embossed, like the whole card. I prefer not, because when we go to glue these together, you know, when you get your swap back, if it's embossed, it's gonna be all lumpy and bumpy, and it just won't look as nice. But you know, I would say no. Just use some pretty cardstock. If you have double-sided cardstock, even better. Mine was single-sided, and that's fine, because that's gonna be in the back anyway. Just like I show you these, if I put these together, which obviously I'm not, and these are my swap ones, I'll get 4 back that are different. It just looks pretty, and the back side doesn't matter. We are not decorating the back. We're not adding flaps to our pockets. We're not doing all this crazy stuff. We're not adding a different thing that when you open it, there's actually 2 pages in here. No, it's a 5x7 card, super basic. It's a very tight turnaround for the same reason that this doesn't take a lot of work. As far as that, my pockets, I made them literally, because they at least the numbers I used, they cut so well off the 12x12 piece of paper that it was just like a snap, like just cut them all at once, and then just, you know, I did all the scoring, that little trimming around the score lines, you know, down at the corners to make your pocket, and then I just, with my little punch, of course, if you're using a die, that's a little bit different. Whatever it is that you want, I would say try and make the pockets decorative on the top if you can. Again, I showed you how you can do that with even just like basic little scissors. So as you can see, they're all the same, other than the paper's a little bit different, right? But everything that's in here is the same. And so today on my Cricut, I'm going to use to do all my die cuts, which is not typical of me. Usually I use dies to do my die cuts, but this time I thought, you know what? I'll do the Cricut. So in this video, otherwise this video will be very short because I'm like, okay, these dies, I'm gonna run them through and that's it. But I do have some really cute images I wanted to use. So I'll show you guys in this video how I manipulate it. Some of them just have some info like on using Design Space, but other than that, I'm just going to put together my little die cut pieces. So they are 5 large die cuts, right, to go in your large pocket, because if they were tiny, they would just fall in there. So it needs to be some sizable die cuts, guys, on this side in my large pocket. Some of them might be a little bit small, like they might need a little help, but they're all going to fit in here. As far as the height and width, obviously. I have my 1 embellishment, and I said a lot of these things are minimum, right? 5 and 5 label die cuts. With the embellishment, it is one thing and one thing only, please. And like I said, if you want to add like a little paper clippy on here or something cute, like I'm going to put a topper piece on this, that's fine. Just no wooden paper clips. I put that no clippies that are like wood. We're not sealing these up on top. We're not decorating this outside. Do not do any of that, please. And I put that very explicitly in the guidelines, especially also nothing extra, no extraneous pieces. We're not adding a pencil or a pen or like ribbon around here or nothing. Just gonna look very plain. I understand that, but that's just how it is, guys. Because especially I had to be a lot stricter this time around because last folder swap was like a little bit out of control on some of them. I would say more like around half of them was like, okay. So we don't need to include anything extra for our partners. And if you want to put your info, I mean, you can write it on here, I suppose, or put like a label sticker, or just a business size card, like a little card with your info, and put it in. I'm gonna put this in a sleeve. If you want to do that and you don't have anywhere else to put it, you can tuck it in here, you know. Or like in the back probably or something. But that's about it, guys. So hopefully that answers your questions as close and similar as you can. I did these exactly the same. These die cut, my label die cuts, my 5 labels are exactly the same. My embellishment pieces are exactly the same, and then my 5 die cuts are gonna be exactly the same, even though the paper is slightly different. I kind of just mixed and matched them because I know most paper pads only have like 2 sheets, maybe 3 of the same. And please use higher than layering weight paper. Layering weight paper is like printer paper. We need some nice thick paper, okay? Cardstock. And I would prefer it to be printed paper. It looks really boring when it's just like red, or if it's just like green. If you have patterned paper, please use that, because honestly, this is boring enough to see that. So hopefully you'll find some pretty papers that you want to use. And what else? Yeah, you send them in however you like. Please protect them. I'm going to say that because... And please watch both videos through and through and read all the words that I typed up, because that takes time, and that's basically where all the info is. Like I said, at the end, I'm probably going to put these in a little plastic sleeve. I don't know. I always have these plastic sleeves linked in the description box, and you know what? These actually work really well because they're a little bit bigger than 5x7. So this is a higher quality. It's like thicker. If you want to put it in there to send out, that's great. I have some other ones that are a little thinner that are meant for like pictures, and those are thinner and they're a little smaller, so they hold it a little more snugly, which would be good too. But if you're not going to put a sleeve, that's fine. Just make sure they're, maybe you want to wrap them in tissue altogether so that it's easy, you know, they don't just move around the whole time that they're you ship them. If you put them in a padded envelope or an envelope, I know that sometimes a lot of people just throw them in there like that, basically, it seems like. Please put like an extra cardboard in there, or keep them, you know, concise and tight somehow, because they will get moved around and sometimes they get bent, you know, things get bent, and I would love for them to show up like this so that I can swap them out looking nice, right? What else? I think those are most of the questions I got. So yeah, you're only sending in 4 inserts. I call them inserts because I didn't know what else to call them. Card inserts, and they're 5x7, just like I said in the first video, and then you're going to receive 4 back from 4 different people, and then I'll show you how to put them together and make them into a nice little book like that. So when you pull it, they just come out like this, and you can pick from them, and they'll be really fun. Okay, guys? So again, minimum requirement, 5 large die cuts, 5 label die cuts, and 1. That one does not change, only 1 embellishment. And also it's because I don't have time to sit and go through everything that you sent, right? Because there's time constraints. So please don't send more than 1 embellishment that we can talk about. And then I'm talking about these, and I'm talking about these, right? So that's another reason for that. And, you know, hopefully you'll have a good feel once I'm done here, what I'm expecting as far as that. I mean, like, you know, somebody might want to put a sticker here. I really hesitate in saying to decorate any further than your paper, because I'm sure somebody's going to put a rosette or something, you know, and we're not looking for thickness from the extras. And that I would consider extra because I'm not even asking for that. So I would say please just stick to the rules and the guidelines that I had set up, and that way I don't have to send yours back without being swapped, because that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start being a little more harsh, because I think it's been a couple years that I've just been like, okay, I'll try to make it work, and it's not great. Okay, guys, so let's talk about Cricut. Hey guys, so when I go on Cricut and I'm looking for things, I always just set my machine over here to the Explorer, because I have an Explorer, but if you want to set it to just one of the larger machines so that you can see all of your actual die cuts or files, because if you have it on like Joy, it'll just sort things that Joy can cut easily, instead of like, hey, if you want to make a huge envelope tiny, it won't even offer you that huge envelope, you know what I'm saying? So I'll start on Cricut Explorer Family, so I always have it on there. I want to show you, I think, what I put together for this one. And whenever you have a file, like even if it's something I share, you can just say make it and it'll go right to making it, or you click customize, and I like that because customize, you can do some different things, so instead of just going right to cutting it. And I just want to show you the files that I chose for my die cuts. So this one actually should be stuck to, not that one. Yeah, this is all stuck together. Well, at least this and this should be one file. I'm not sure. My little Holly. Not sure why those are separate. I think yesterday I separated them out to do something else. So anyway, but that's okay. They're already paired up together. You guys know I made a video on this. So I'm going to include this little fig pudding die cut. I think that'll be fun. I'm going to fold it in half, obviously, and then the person can put a little chocolate in there if they would like. I have this pretty little tree, and these are all basic things. I already did the tree before, and I think I actually might make the tree a little, well, I'm paying attention to the base of it at the bottom, how wide it is for my pocket. 1, 2, 3 is about 4 inches, and I think my pocket's 4.5, so I can make it a little bit bigger. I don't want to, and then pay attention to the height, obviously. It can't be taller than 7 inches, right? So we have that. I chose this word, merry and bright, and I can make it as large or as small as I like, and I think the size it is right now looks pretty good. So that's just like a layered up sentiment. And then look at this little bear. I could not use this guy. He's so cute with his little mug, and I think it goes with my paper and stuff like that, so I think that's fun. So again, this is just a cartridge that I own, you know, from a long time ago. All of these things are cartridges that I own. You might find them free, I don't know, but if you have Cricut access, I suppose you can access everything, right? And this little elf boy, look how cute he is. Oh my goodness. So the only thing I want to show you that I did anything different with is this ornament that I just looked up Merry Christmas because I was looking for something like a sentiment, and this ornament came up, but it didn't have a background piece. And I had to play with it a little bit to get this background piece going, sorry. And then down here, I have a label that I think is like Anna Griffin, and I said topper, that's basically what I was looking for, and this is what came up, and I'm like, wow, look at that. It's like a whole package topper, but it also had a scroll design, and I got rid of it. Another topper, a piece that goes on top of this that has like all this die cutting in it. It's really pretty, but I rather write, so I wrote all is calm, all is bright. So I'm going to show you how I made these two because they needed some editing, and maybe that'll help you, okay? I'll be right back. So I should have shown this. I did click save because I enlarged the tree, and I just said save, not save as, because I have to rename it. But anyway, up here I just clicked save, and it saved it. But again, it does ask you save or save as, and I said save. So let's do something new because I want to show you how I did those other guys. I'm going to go to images over here on the left. I'm going to type in Merry Christmas. I think that's what I had done. And hopefully I'll find the same things. I honestly don't even know how I found that label. I think I put topper, and that's what came up. But so, sorry, I did that kind of fast. I typed in Merry Christmas. When I came up, I scrolled down here and I clicked on purchase because I'm not interested in what they're trying to sell me. I just want to see mine. This is actually from a Hello Kitty Christmas thing folder, which is really cute actually because I'm going to use that Hello Kitty, hopefully, if we do the stuffed and alternate cases. But anyway, all these are Hello Kitty. These are interesting. These are print and cut types. Some of these are just print, but they're Anna Griffin. I never actually tried to use them. So anyway, and I just kept looking for what struck my fancy. And I mean, these are really fancy. Again, Anna Griffin stuff, like this is pretty. But it was very basic if I had another layer. So that's where I found this tree. And that's where I found this. So I'm going to click on that. So it adds it to my, down here, it's going to be on my canvas. And I think that's the only thing because that topper is somewhere else. So I did choose other items here. A lot of these are print and cuts. Really weird. Anyway, there's this one that I chose. These boxes, there's these little hats. I was like, this is so cute, but I think they're more like this. They're supposed to be like advent calendar things or like this. Really cute cuts here that I own that I didn't even know. So there they are. Okay, and that's where I found this little guy and her too, but I just chose him because he has a little train, and I did the trains on my little borders on my pockets. Okay, so now I'm going to look for another image. So I just X'd off that last one, and I think I said topper. I don't know if that works. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, that was perfect. Okay. And this is the one I chose. So as you can see, there's other bag toppers or toppers that I have, which I honestly had no idea. And there's just these Anna Griffin ones. So cool. So I'm gonna click on that and I'm gonna say add to canvas. Okay, obviously they're too huge and we don't want these all together. So just click somewhere else so that you can manipulate them separately. Now I'm just gonna work on this one really quickly. What I did is, and I suppose there's different ways to do this, but I thought the easiest way to make a background piece, because this is slightly different from other pieces that I've made that need a background piece, I want to make it so that the person can either just layer it, or maybe they make it a shaker, right, when they get these items home. So I'm not going to glue them together, but I'm going to click offset up here. And I'm going to move the offset to 0, basically, because I want it to make a background, but I don't want it to have an edge around the side. So I'm just going to say 0, and I'm going to apply. And always with the offset, it takes a little while. Not always, but a lot of times. And I'm still waiting, and now you can see it says offset result down here. So that means we have it. And if I move this away, I have this black offset. Okay. So what I did is I still want this to be solid. I want this to be a background piece, like not to be carved out like this. So I'm going to click down here on contour. And basically, I'm going to hide all contours because every single thing in here that's going to cut, I want gone. So I'm just going to say hide all contours. So it's definitely doing the outside line. And I'm going to come down here, and I wanted that little dot in the center back. So that's this, basically. It's the only thing that looks perfect. So if I click that, it'll put it back. And now when I go over here, my contour is all filled. So it's not going to cut anything weird. And then I have that top, you know, the little hole. And this piece can go right on top. Okay, so that's how I did that. And so you can manipulate objects that way. So 0 offset, that way you make a background piece. It's just different because I've done other things where it just works out, but for that one I had to do it that way. With this guy, I'm going to ungroup right there. Actually, let's go back. I'm not going to ungroup it yet because I want to manipulate the size. So I made it small enough that it would fit my little bag of pearls on the top. So let's just say that's the size. I don't know. So now I'm going to ungroup it, and this one is so pretty, but I know what the size that I'm cutting at is so small that these things are not going to cut really nicely. It's going to look really bad, so I just got rid of that one. So just delete it. I just press delete. You can press the trash can. And here we have this. Okay, I'm going to highlight these and group them. No, actually, it's better if they're ungrouped. For whatever reason, if they're grouped together and you say that you want to write something on this and then you attach it, it attaches everything in an ugly way. So let's just get rid of this guy for right now. And on this guy, I just wanted to write something. So let me do that next. So we are going to want to write something. So I'm just going to click off on the side somewhere just because I want to do text next. And again, let me try to move this. Nope, I don't want you there. I just want this by itself. Okay. I'm going to highlight it again. Over here on font, we have, you know, different styles. Now I can click writing, and that'll be what Cricut Sans looks like writing. It's very thin. I'm just going to come over here, and I'm going to unclick kerned because it's so annoying that if that's on, you're never going to find your actual, like, what you own. And then I'm going to go over here, like everything that you own, and write writing style because I do want it to be writing and purchased. Maybe even free, but for now, let's just leave it like that. And so these are the ones that I have that I can write with that have a writing font that aren't just an outline. Like if I say, okay, write it, it's just going to be an outline of what it would normally cut. So, I mean, there's lots of them. Let's just say I did this one. So now I'm just going to write what I wanted, which was all is calm. Ah, what did I do? That's weird. Okay, no. Okay. All is bright. And obviously this is too big for what my purposes are, so I'm going to shrink it down. And you can shrink it down by changing the font size up here on the top. But for now I just have that. Now I'd like to grab this and bring it over here and keep manipulating it until it's what I would want. And okay, so either one or the other. All I did was eyeball it. If I say center or something like that, you know, with these tools up here under align, which is not letting me do anyway, it would look kind of funky. So I'm just doing that. And now I'm going to highlight my words. No, buddy. Oh, yeah, don't move. Don't you dare move. Okay, let's put that back. Yes, I'm going to have to move this farther away so I don't grab it accidentally. And I'm going to highlight. And all you're doing is right-clicking, basically, to get that together. So I'm highlighting everything, and I'm going to attach. Okay, so now the words are attached to this. So when I go to do it, the words will be written out, and then it'll cut it. This one actually has a score and all that. If you only have a joy, you need to get rid of that score line. So how to get rid of things like this right here, that's the score line, I believe. And you can just click it and it'll take it away, like to sleep it so you don't have a score line. I know with joy it'll just tell you can't cut it, and it's like I can cut it but it won't let you because it has a score line. So now these two are basically like this, and actually what I can do is, and if you want to group them back together, you know, that's fine, you don't have to, but I would, just in case you want to size them again. So what I'm going to do is just highlight both of them. I'm going to align them up here just because it looks nicer. It doesn't really matter. Center them, and then I'm going to group them again. That way, let's say right now I'm like, oh, that's too big. Now I can manipulate them both at the same time as far as sizing, instead of being one or the other and then it looking crazy. And that's all I did for those kind of special cuts, okay? I do want to show you one more thing, and hopefully it's not confusing, so I will be right back. Honestly, I want to do all 4 of them right now because I want to just have it done, and my project is done. I might have to do one at a time for the video, we'll see, and maybe I just won't do all the die cuts because it's not that interesting, you know, going through everything. But let's say I go to make it. So I'm back at my original thing. So there's a lot of colors on here, there's a lot going on. And let me click make it again. And it can get confusing. So let's just say confirm I want it on 12 by 12. I honestly do not know what this is. It must be something that's tiny. I don't know what it's asking me to cut on this one. I'm not going to lie. So I need to check on that. That might be the score line. There's some kind of issue. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to cut that one. So if you don't want to cut something, you can go to the next one. And now I have the one little topper for the fig pudding. On this one we have, again, this is a really old school what's the word, cartridge. This either belongs to the bear or to that elf, so it's just sized all weird, and like they could save paper here, but it doesn't. It just cuts that way. Here's the little bear's hat, you know, other things that you'd want. And they're, you know, separated by color. So black, the background that I did, the bear background, his little sweater. And I want to cut 4 of these at a time. So when I apply 4, I say, let's say 4, and I say apply, it can get even more confusing looking. So just know that, like, if you're going to cut these guys, I would say I'll cut this, and then I would go look for the fig pudding part, and I cut that, just so I can do them in the order that I want. So whenever you're choosing which one next you want to do, just click it and say continue, or, you know, it'll cut, and then now I want this other one that makes more sense for me. Maybe, you know, well, the tree by itself would be good to cut because that's all it is. This one has the hollies for my fig pudding, so I can cut those by themselves. I know there's tons of different greens. It's just depending. Like this is the holly for the little bear. And you can, you know, keep switching things out. I'll just do it in a way that makes sense, that you can start gluing without losing all these pieces, right? Or put them in a little basket or something. The other thing I used to do, like right now, let's say I want this little guy. I'm going to delete everything on here. I know that seems weird. I'm just going to get rid of everything. And I'm not going to save, so that means everything is together. It's not a big deal. Nothing's gone. I'll just go back to my file when I'm ready for it. Let's say that guy. Let's say we have this guy. And what I would do is, let me see if it lets me do it here. I don't know if it's going to let me do it. Make everything one color. So let's say everything is gray. Okay. So we're not going to cut everything in gray, but you have to have a really good memory of what you want to do, because what you can do on the next one, let's say make it, say confirm, what you're going to do is manipulate these things. So now I can grab this guy and put it down here, maybe grab this, put it over here, and you make like what I call a paper quilt. So let's say I'm putting everything in different little quadrants. So what I can do is now I'll grab some paper. Now see how this one has a top and a bottom? You're going to have to really pay attention to that. It's kind of annoying. But maybe you want those things different colors, right? And this is green and the mug might be red or something. So you put everything in strategic spots. So when you come back, what you do is look at this, you look at your mat, and you say, okay, I'm going to cut a piece of paper that is 3 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to place it in this top left corner. That is the color that I want my bear. This is the black piece. Okay, so black. Maybe there's other pieces that are black, so put them all together near each other. And now in your mind, you're like, okay, that quadrant needs to be from 3 to 6, a 3-inch by 4-inch piece of paper I'm going to place here. I'm going to place his hat color paper here in this area that's going to take up this space. Now you're going to want to use paper that's all about the same weight, so you don't have to manipulate any of that, but I hope this makes sense. I think this is a fun way. I used to do this all the time with my, just when I used to use my machines before, because you would set things up like how many things you want to cut, and then it would show you kind of what it looks like, and you would map it out, and then that way everything gets cut on one mat and it's all done. But everything has to be the same color for it to be on the one mat to begin with, and then you personally have to remember like where you're putting things, and then go ahead and I would take this to my my desk, and then just make sure I'm putting pieces of paper that are the right size in the right quadrant, right little area, and then everything will be cut the way you want it all at once. Just a thing to think about. Okay, well, I'm going to cut things. That's not super exciting. I will tell you that I'm going to cut things probably one at a time, because some of these are confusing. Like, there's so many green things here. So for me, maybe I'm cutting both these things and that's okay, or whatever. I'm not cutting everything. But again, I think I'm just going to do it the way I showed you guys, where it just makes sense. I'm going to cut them in a way that makes sense. Okay, so I'll be back. I just want to say, just keep things moving along. I have several mats, and this one actually, I take that down because the paper was, I don't know if it's because it's cold this morning. It just is like, I don't know. So I set things up in a way that I can just keep working, right? So I'm going to start cleaning this out, weeding it, and then the next one's already cutting, and the next one, is ready to go. But look at that. Ooh. So, okay. I'll be back. I want to show you something really cool. As I'm doing this topper bit, there's the topper, but then there's a piece that goes on top with the words. I've never actually had something that had scoring, writing, and cutting. So the first things they wanted you to do was put the scoring tool in A, the fine, your cutting blade in B, which is typical. And now before it moves on, it just did the scoring. It says load your pen into clamp A, and then do that. So I'm just going to unclick clamp A. I'm going to pop out my scoring tool. I'm going to pop in my pen, which actually that's set for a different pen, I think. Is it this one? Oh, yeah, it's this one. Anyway, this is your typical pen for Cricut, the .4 black tip. Black usually comes with your machines. I'm going to pop that in the A side and lock it in. And now I'm going to press the little button there, and we will keep working. I just ran into a hiccup, which was really weird. My machine just like freaked out. It started just cutting in a straight line. I'll show you. and the mat, look at this. I don't know if you can see that. It's like carved in there, and then I reset it, and unfortunately I had moved one of these to a certain spot, so I had to like guess where that spot was again because I had to cancel the cut. But I think I got it pretty well straight on anyway. And then I did it again, and that second time it started doing this thing again, so I was like freaking out. I said to cancel. It started cutting the actual Cricut machine like underneath that ridge. Like just the plate that's the Cricut. I was like, oh my god, that blade is really sharp, because it's totally etched that up. But then I pressed cancel, whatever. Things happen, but wow, at least it's cutting again. I don't know what it was doing. It was kind of like pushing it out instead of bringing it back in again to start the cutting. How it kind of like aligns itself. It would like, and then it started cutting. I'm like, what is going on? So this third time I held it, pushed like close to the machine, like didn't let it push it out, and it worked. So I don't know, guys. I might have to, maybe, I hate to do a realignment or whatever they call it with the you know, from the machine to the computer, because sometimes that messes things up even worse, but I might have to, a calibration or whatever. Okay, anyway, I'll keep working. These things are cutting. I just realized this is super delicate and I really don't want to pop it in the pocket just like that. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and cut a piece of acetate and stick it on here so that way that's supported, and then the person can make it a shaker if they want, or they can just glue it down and it still has shininess, so like an ornament, you know. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just cut some acetate circles, put some glue on the back of my hand and everything, and glue those on to support that very delicate word right there. Since this is taking longer than I would expect, you know, I'm probably not going to do my little characters today, but I do want to show you. I'm just plugging right along. When I come back, we'll put some things together and I'll show you kind of what it's going to end up looking like, okay? My Merriam Bright is pretty delicate, so I think what I'm going to do is do an offset, but a very small offset. We'll see what that looks like. I want it to be very, very small. Let's apply that and see what that looks like. Oh yeah, that's nice because it has some different pieces there. Okay, so what I'm going to do with that offset is just cut out a few of those just to make it more sturdy behind what I have going on. And yeah, so I'm just going to cut those out real quick instead of doing voiceover for this. Like I said, I'm just going to cut an acetate circle, and I can use my dies, but I'm just going to click on shapes, get a circle, and then just drag it to be as big as I need it to be to basically go in that spot. Let's see here. And of course it needs to be bigger than that. And that will be the acetate circle that I stick to my behind my words there. I'm just using this one to eyeball that to make sure we're about right. So I'm just going to cut 4 of these out of acetate. The noise, but while that is cutting that, I'm going to take my 2 layers. Just going to add this on nicely, usually all around the very edges so it doesn't pick up. And I did use some Tonic Amazing papers. This one here. I forget if it's Tidal Wave. I already forgot the name of the paper. But let's just cut these guys. I'll cut these, glue them. And then once I get this down, I have the whole sheet of a ton of little letters. And you know, the Cricut does what the Cricut does. A couple, like on each of these cuts, something got messed up. Like I tore one of these completely in half. And then some of them just didn't cut as well in certain areas as others, which is odd. So I have to rerun those. So with every cut that I did, I have to like redo at least one of them. But I usually do that at the end, you know. Okay, so I have that. Sorry about the lighting. It looks very orange for some reason. Okay, so I have that. And then I have this whole, like I said, sheet of letters here. And again, this is from an old cartridge, so I couldn't manipulate these letters individually. I would have put them closer together to save paper, but oh well. And so with these, again, we have, I'm going to take a little bit of the glue off though, because these are metallic kind of letters and I don't want them to get warped. So I'm going to put that on there. Oh, that is so funny. I didn't think about it. I'm like, oh, white would look with that tidal wave in the background with the little pinwheel, you know, the peppermint paper. But it completely covers the white up, so it's just like metallic on metallic. Looks crazy. That's cool. And then my little R. So I'm going to take a moment to put all these down. I didn't create the whole... I'll show you right now what I'm talking about. Hold on. This little guy, because I have a whole tutorial on how I made these, so I'm going to include it. I might even include the little piece of twine. I added it there just to have it, but I'll pop that in too. We'll see. And then these guys, all I'm going to do is fold over my bag topper, fold over this one, and glue the one over the other, and they should be okay. Like that. Oh, you know what? This is, might be the other way. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to glue those together just with some glue. Again, this is the one it had gotten a little wonky on me, so the score line might not be quite where we want it, but that's okay. Just glue them together. Oh, here I have my acetate circles that I went ahead and ran twice so that it would cut nice. And as far as what was I cutting on the Cricut, I said it was foil acetate, because that's like the only option they have, and that worked out. So again, I'll put glue on the back of this guy, you know, put the glue on with the letters, and glue that guy on, and that way it'll be nice and sturdy, okay? So I'll be back once I've done all those things. So, like I said, I'm not done with my 5 for this. And actually, if I think about it, with the 2 little characters, that's actually 6. But again, just not super thick, and 5 is the minimum, right? So I may not make both characters. I really want to. But I know they're going to take a long time, so I'm not doing them today. So here we have like a really big sentiment. Again, they want to be larger to go in that pocket. Now, if you want to put them in a glassine envelope, like bag or a clear plastic sleeve kind of thing, that's up to you. Just again, let's not get too crazy thick. So I'm have this guy here. I'm going to put the tree on top because I think that would fit best, and then maybe follow it up with this guy. And again, it is 2 pieces. I'm considering that as one thing though, right? So we have that, and then let me see, 3, 4, and then I have my little fun like lint or any kind of round chocolate Ferrero Rocher you can pop in there. So I have that too as part of my die cut swap part here, and I'm going to slide these guys in here carefully. Those guys will be in the pocket, and as you can see, layered up, I mean, it adds thickness, right? So if I have that there, that's fine. I think I will leave that twine. And then again, for this little guy, I have this. Now I was kind of playing with this. I'm like, why is this not lining up? Whatever reason, and you know, leave it to Anna Griffin's parts of like on here on Cricut, that they don't line up. The score lines are off for whatever reason, even though it's the same cut. I don't understand why. So in the back it looks like that, and the front looks better. So anyway, and you can't split the difference because of the score line. Now, having known that, I would probably just delete the score line, make my own score lines later. But for this specific one, I'm gonna pop this on here, and that's just to decorate this little thing, you know, just to add a little something, and then it has the name of the swap on there. And to put this topper on, I'm gonna leave the bottom, like where you open it down here. That way this doesn't have to get destroyed when the person opens it, right? So I think I'm gonna add this on maybe with some double-sided tape. And of course I always have tons of them. Right now I can't even find one. I will be right back. Well, let's use this big boy. This is not something I misplace very often. And just a little tape. It's not the biggest deal. I just want it to stick on there. There you go. That top one didn't put anything on. Hold on. And again, I want to tape this to this top part over here. Ooh, very sticky stuff. And just pop that on there. And that's all I'm doing as a little topper. Again, something very low profile. We're not going wilding out, as they would say. Not too crazy. And I'm just going to pop that back in there. And I made this pocket like right on, so it is snug. Now I can leave this outside a little bit like this if I wanted to. Okay, so there's my All Is Calm, All Is Bright, my one embellishment, my 5 tags that we made in the other video. Again, make them out of paper that the person can actually stamp on. That's the whole point of the label, that they have an area that you can stamp, right? So on these guys, I put decorative paper on the back, but on the top it's white, or like the little tags that I used also as label dies. Are very light colors that can be stamped on, and then that little white kind of doily label. And then here are, right now, are 4 die cuts. Again, larger die cuts if you want background pieces, whatever, but they have to be die cuts, guys. I did mention cut aparts, like pull aparts that might be in your paper pack. If you want to include those as your die cut, that's fine. Just cut them really nicely though, you know what I'm saying? Don't just cut out the big square if it's like a tag and then throw it in here. Like, it'd be nice if you cut it down. And then I'm gonna make a little character or 2, and that'll be mine. And I do really want to use these paper clips. I was gonna use them in my loaded pocket swap, but then I made my own little gingerbread man. So for this one, I think I'm gonna include, just to look pretty, this little guy on top right here. And well, you know, I can put him anywhere. Here it looks best. And I would just kind of hook him in there. Again, that's an extra thing. You do not have to do that. I am adding this. Please don't feel that means you need to add like this huge, no wooden clips. Paper clips are as far as we can go, and I'm talking about not a hidden altered paper clip and not an altered paper clip. I'm talking about a basic paper clip, okay? Just metal, you know? Like I said, no super extras. And as you can see already with that, it is bigger, but it is not bigger than like a 1/4 inch. And I can kind of show you that. Oh, and I should get the sleeves. I'll grab a sleeve so I can show you what that looks like. But I mean, it's right there, you know? And I'm not really squishing it, so as you can see, it's just inside of that 1/4 inch. So I know it's easy if you close like this, you're like, oh, there's nothing. No, I mean, you can even look on the sides if you just kind of close it down. I mean, it's right there. So hopefully that gives you an idea. It is not bulging and it's not sticking out like this, or like these big old huge things that are like this, because that's what I was seeing a lot of. That's it. Yeah. And so what I'm going to do is, let me grab a sleeve real quick and show you what that would look like. That's a bummer. I put my sleeve somewhere super secret apparently. So anyway, so we have this guy, and these are the ones, like I said, are more like stamp and die holders. That works great. You can just put it over, maybe put a little piece of washi, and I know it looks very plain, but that's just how it is, guys. I usually print up a little label and say, you know, handcrafted by VianneyCreates, and I'll just stick that probably maybe out here. I can stick it on the actual card insert folder, whatever you want to call it. But again, let's just run through, and that's just a nice way to, you know, send them in so that they're nice and protected. You don't have to do that, but at least wrap them in some kind of tissue so that they're not just moving around the whole time that they're in shipping. So again, a large pocket, 2 smaller pockets. Do not stack the pockets on top of each other. Don't add clasps, don't add flaps, don't add anything like that. Just a pocket, okay? 1 larger, 2 smaller, whatever works for your project, whatever it is that you're putting together. 1 embellishment item, only 1 embellishment item. I mean, if you're going to include like 2 types of ribbon, like on a spool, that's obviously one thing, but I'm not saying each ribbon counts as one. Obviously that's that. A pack of stickers, you know, shaker mix, as long as it's nice and flat in your little pocket. 5 label die cuts and 5 larger die cuts, whatever it is that you think works for your all is calm, all is bright. And I just included this just to be cute, but again, keep that kind of thing very minimal, guys. Please, I'm begging you. No decoration on either of these sides, okay? And you don't have to wrap it with like a tool, and you don't have to put a ribbon, and you don't have to put a paper clip on the outside. None of that. Nothing should be sticking out. It's all inside, and all your creativity is right in there, okay, guys? So thanks for watching. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer, like in the video and in the guidelines, please ask. I'm leaving the signups open till the 29th, so you have a couple more days to sign up, and I'll see you at the next one. Have fun, guys. Bye now.